Hello and welcome back to Basement Philosophy, or Philosophy from the Depths. So this week we're going to be looking at readings relating to our topic in week 6, which is about the afterlife in Islam and also the Shona and Akan religions. Plenty of items to get through this week, so let's make a start. Now the first item is an edited book that was also on the reading list for last week, called Roads to Paradise. There are 2 volumes of this in all, but the chapters on the reading list are from volume 1. And there are 3 chapters that I would recommend. First of all, chapter 12, which is about paradise virgins and utopia. This is a good starting point on the topic of houris. The chapter looks at various ways that Islamic thinkers have understood and interpreted the idea of houris, and so it provides a lot of very good background information. There's also chapter 4, which is an excellent chapter looking at how paradise is described in the Quran. Now, since paradise comes up a lot in the Quran, it's very useful to read something that brings it all together and offers a coherent picture. And this is definitely the best piece to read for that. And lastly from this book is chapter 20. If you want to go a bit further into how paradise has been conceived by Muslims, this is a useful chapter to read. It focuses on the interpretation of 4 medieval Islamic thinkers. Next is a journal article entitled American Visions of the Houri. And this article takes a look at how Americans have depicted the Houri since the 9/11 attacks brought them to widespread media attention. The analysis here is very good. But there's also some very useful information about the concept of the Houri, so it's worth a look if that topic is of interest to you. And next we have a book, Indigenous Shona Philosophy. It's one we've seen before. Now I'm suggesting reading pages 95 to 100, which cover the idea of spirits and death in the Shona religion. It is quite a breezy treatment though, so you'll need to look at another source as well to flesh things out. And this is the source I would recommend, Chitakure's book. Look at chapter 4, entitled The Centrality of the Ancestors. So this works through Shona beliefs about ancestral spirits and the other kinds of spirits, such as Meshavi and Ngozi. The chapter also explains what has to happen in order for someone to qualify as an ancestral spirit in the Shona religion. Now, next is a journal article entitled A Critique of the Concept of Quasi-Physicalism in Akan Philosophy. As the title suggests, this article is a critique of Werudu's concept of quasi-physicalism. The author considers Werudu's arguments for thinking spirits are quasi-physical, and he puts objections to them. So his claim is that the spirits are essentially metaphysical or non-physical. And here's another journal article on Akan philosophy. This is a very useful article. It's probably the best piece I've come across on the Akan notion of Sunsum. Whether it's the final word on the matter is hard to say. But on this topic, I certainly wouldn't recommend restricting oneself to just one source. It's worth reading several to really get a feel for the different ways that Sunsum has been conceived. But I think it's worth starting with this article. And this is Kwame Djeche's An Essay on African Philosophical Thought. With this one, have a look at chapter 6, where Djeche looks at the Akan view of the person. He argues that after death, human beings, as spirits, have a fully disembodied existence. And lastly, we have another journal article called Does God Have a Body? On the Materiality of Akan Spirituality. Now, this is a very good article written by an anthropologist who spent a good bit of time among the Akan. He argues that the Akan do not recognize anything entirely non-physical. So for them, everything that exists is material to some extent, even Onyami. It's a very detailed, in-depth paper, but if you want to get a better understanding of Akan metaphysics, it's very useful. And so that's it for Basement Philosophy this week and for this unit. I very much hope that you find these little podcasts useful, and I'm glad to report that in recording them, I've not managed to lock myself in the cellar.